The man accused of killing unarmed teenager Trayvon Martin is back in jail. The sheriff says George Zimmerman was, quote, quiet and cooperative when he turned himself in. So let's begin in Sanford, Florida. That's where George Zimmerman has reemerged after 6 weeks in hiding and is now back in jail. His bond was revoked by the judge in the Trayvon Martin murder case. Martin Savage is there. So Martin, how did it take place today?
Well, it was simple and it was uneventful, Frederica, and that is just the way the authorities wanted it to be. There was always a great deal of concern about George Zimmerman's safety. That is the case, of course, for his defense team. It's also the case for his family, and it certainly was the worry of law enforcement because of the amount of notoriety this case has received over time, and, of course, because there's a lot of different opinions on this story. Let's tell you how the meeting took place. And it was rather clandestine as to how George Zimmerman actually got into the hands of authorities. Listen to the sheriff as he described how it went down.
George Zimmerman met two members of the sheriff's office in the area of Lake Mary at I-4, was placed into custody, transported to the correctional facility. He is being booked and processed. As per Judge Lester's order, he'll be held on a no bond status.
And so it was really kind of a meeting that was set up on the side of the highway in a parking lot there. We do not know where George Zimmerman has been hiding out. That is something his attorney has continued to maintain to not want to divulge to anyone. We don't even know how long it took for him to return, other than we are told that clearly it took less than 48 hours because that was the time limit George Zimmerman was under. Meanwhile, his attorney, Mark O'Mara, spoke to us. I asked him, what was George Zimmerman's demeanor going back behind bars? Here's what he said.
Solemn, obviously. He's worried continually about his safety. Having to come out of hiding is a concern of his, but I think he also realizes the judge's concerns. Now that we have all had on the defense team a chance to look at all of the evidence, he understands the court's concerns, he understands the state's concerns, and we're going to address those and say what I think needs to be said to address them with Judge Lester.
As for the conditions as to George Zimmerman, how he's being held, they remain the way they used to be. The last time he was here, he's being housed by himself in his own cell, kept away from the general population. Mark O'Mara says he plans to file to try to get a new bond hearing. He'll file that motion as early as tomorrow. Frederica?
And Martin, do we know whether the chances are good, whether the judge would honor that motion?
You know, it's a good question. I think at this point the judge is likely not to immediately act on that motion. Even O'Mara does not think it's going to be this week. It'll probably be sometime after that. And then it is the judge's discretion. He could decide to raise the bond, which is what many people think will happen here, or he could decide not to give him any bond at all, and that would mean he would have to remain behind bars until his trial, and that's not slated till next year.
All right, Martin Savage, thanks so much, and Sam.